Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing very well today and I'm really excited about today, but I'm going to say hello to Shazad first. Hi Shazad, how are you?
Hello Maha, I'm absolutely perfect. How are you?
I'm really good.
How's your day so far?
It
just
just
started.
started, but it's good because, I feel like it's going to be good.
But how do you feel when you open your eyes early in the morning and you don't feel like getting out of the bed?
I call my producer and be like, no, kidding. Joking. No, I think that, you know what? I love what I do, and it's only like a few hours out of my day, and that's the reason why I'm here. And so I'm going to get up and get out of bed.
That's the best part.
And also another thing is, I'm like, well, what if Shazad doesn't reach on time? Then we're going to get into big trouble.
That's a major problem, and thank God that that has never ever happened.
Mashallah,
but we were actually that near to that point.
Almost.
But then, most of the time, the best part is that when you go back home, you take the custody of your bed and then you just jump into it and you're like, all right, thank you, God, for giving me an opportunity to work. But then at the same time, picking up on this custody thing, that's what I wanted to pick up on.
Yes.
So today's show, obviously, we're very...
Random connection.
Yeah, it is a random connection just because of the fact that the same word is being used in it as well. But then at the same time, a lot of parents, they've written it to us as well on our Facebook pages and Twitter pages. Since we did a show on divorce and then all of those issues and then Nikah Nama, so it got viral as well. So now we decided that, we should actually do a show on custody-related problems as well.
Because a lot of the times when it comes to divorces, a lot of the reason why women stay in unhealthy or, very negative environments is because they don't want to lose their children. Yes. Because people do become quite aggressive, quite... not nice, like the decent, immoral almost to a degree.
And then, the other story is that there can be different situations, there can be different scenarios. Probably the father's not around or the mother's not around or they're separated or the mother lives abroad or the father lives abroad and they're actually having an argument over the fact that who's going to look after the kids and then who's going to finance them. So we're going to actually answer all of these questions today. And we have a very amazing lady over here in the studio.
One of our
I
favorite.
don't know, is very serious right now. She's not usually though when she's talking to us kids.
No, but now it's a very serious subject, but we have been joined by one of my favorite people. We've been joined by Jamila Aslam, who is an advocate of the Supreme Court and she is a former judge of Lahore High Court. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back.
Hello, ma'am.
Lovely to be back.
Thank you so much.
With you too.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we love you too. So this is a very serious topic, and there's a lot we need to focus. So last time we did it on Nikah Nama, we did it on divorce, we did it on rights for men and women, and got rid of a lot of wrong information out there. Now, when it comes to child custody cases, it's a very complicated situation, very difficult.
Very sensitive as well.
Very sensitive. So tell us, what is going on right now with the situation?
Well, let me first start with custody and guardianship.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people get these two titles mixed up. Custody is having the child physically with you, and guardianship is having the freedom of movement. By law, the father is the natural and legal guardian of the minors, minors till the age of 18. Whereas, what the custody that the mother has is, we call it the constructive custody of the father. That means subject to supervision by the father, which normally never happens. But a father is within his rights to say, I want my child's progress reports, I want to know how medically he is doing, all that stuff. So these two things are two separate issues. At this very moment, I always take advantage of this platform.
Please
to tell
do.
the people that a lot of lawyers will tell you, a woman will go to the lawyer, a woman, and say, get me the guardianship of my child. And the lawyer says, yeah, no problem.
Okay.
No. Till the father is declared unfit to be a guardian, that is, he's mentally unstable, he leads a debauched life, or he's imprisoned,
Or he's disabled,
or he's dead. Those are the only times you will get the guardianship of the minor. It is so, the custody with the mother is subject to supervision by the fathers. At this moment in time, I'll bring up a point, is that a lot of women, like you very aptly pointed out, they say, oh, I want to stay in this marriage because I want the children. It gets to a stage when it says, that's it, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
So when the father has been declared unfit, then only, or he's not there, then only will the guardianship be given to the mother.
Right.
Now, what does guardianship mean? It means there's a restriction to movement. The mother cannot take the child out of the country. A lot of embassies will not stamp the visa for the child. Will say, okay, get us, and she writes, I'm divorced, whatever. And we need permission from the natural and legal guardian. While I'll just touch on this bit and we'll get on to the custody matter.
Yes.
When a father files for guardianship, there is no need for him to file for it.
Okay.
Okay? There are times when the father buys property for the child and he wants to sell that property to get better property, and he has to tell the court that, look, I'm getting this guardianship certificate because the registration authority of the land is not allowing me to transfer it till I get a guardianship certificate. So in those kind of circumstances, for the betterment of the child, the court will ascertain as to whether he's genuinely buying better property, get all the record and everything, and then the guardian will have to come to court and say, yes, I've got this property, it's in the child's name. The court makes sure the child's rights are not usurped.
Okay, but we still, you know, before moving on, you know, just because you mentioned that a lot of lawyers, when mothers, or probably women, when they go and they say that, you know, we need the custody, it's a very common
Not custody,
practice.
guardianship.
Guardianship.
Yeah.
It's a very common practice that they say, oh, that's not a problem.
And then they fail.
And then they fail.
Because
After like
they have
8, 10 years or 5 years, they keep on fighting.
No,
and
no,
then
no.
they-
Family matters don't go on that
Okay.
long.
Okay.
Maybe 2 years, maybe a year. But it says somebody files that, and the fathers, you say, sorry, this is not maintainable because you cannot. They have nowhere said that the father is unfit.
Okay.
So that is why guardianship. So if
And that's
anybody
done.
tells a woman, I'll get the guardianship for
She
you,
needs to know this information. He's
please don't believe that man.
okay.
Okay?
And that's done.
That's done. Don't believe the lawyer, because you cannot get guardianship unless you have very concrete grounds and prove that he's unfit to be a guardian or he is dead. Obviously, then it's easy.
Yeah.
He's gone. I mean, by the way, after the father, the right to guardianship is the paternal grandfather.
What?
All right.
What? How does that make sense?
Because he inherits.
So Dada Bu and Dadi Ammi.
Like, and so
But
mother.
the custody will be the mother.
Oh, the guardianship is okay. Guardianship is different.
That's the hierarchy is
okay,
that, the pecking order
I
is
see.
that.
Okay, that's
Then
that makes sense. A little bit.
whereas the custody is concerned, the first right of the mother is the maternal grandmother's right.
Great.
Right.
Okay, well, let's move on to that.
Yeah. So now when a woman, and one more thing I want to tell girls, that they want to file for the custody, or the father files for the custody, when the parties are separated, the children are with them, and they don't file for maintenance of the minor. By token of the father is a national legal guardian, he's supposed to maintain the children.
Okay.
Okay, they're afraid, oh, if I file for maintenance, the custody will be taken away from me. Please, people, they're two separate issues.
Okay.
You can file for maintenance and retain the custody.
All right.
Okay? And it's not written in the Quran, but the Sharia says the boy at the age of 7 and the girl at the age of puberty, the custody will revert to the father. Right? And the Fakah Jafriya, they say at the age of 2, the custody goes to the father. Notwithstanding the Sharia, the predominant consideration before the court is the welfare of the minor.
All right.
So in 99.9% cases, the custody is given to the mother. So very beautiful, it's my favorite, one of my favorite.
Of the minors.
Of the minors.
Of minors, yeah.
Of the Supreme Court, where it's been held. A mother's lap is God's natural cradle. I love these
that's
words.
lovely.
Isn't it beautiful? And a lot of judges thereafter carried this concept forward. So I request women not to worry about it. You have the custody, please file for maintenance. You cannot support the single-handedly. Moreover, when you're not filing for maintenance, you're usurping the children's right. It's not your right, it's the child's right to be maintained by the father.
Yes.
And the father has to cough up the money for the child.
Okay.
But having said that, now these are all the modalities. What I have found in these courts is that a mother goes and files for custody. Now, oh yes, we are talking about when the parties are separated, legally or by will. Okay, the woman's walked out of the house or she's been thrown out. So she's living away from her husband with just cause, and she's brought the minors with her. So that is the ground where the father will come and file a suit for custody. Okay. Please remind me later about 491. I'll explain that to you.
I've written
Not
it down?
judge yeah, write down. I don't want to go from
No,
this
no,
one.
I'll write that
And then when the father files for the custody, a mother comes into court, and there's an application along with the custody petition, which says, give me my visitation rights.
Okay.
What I personally resent is, being a woman, I resent this. I feel it's very unfair that the children are made to meet the fathers in the courts.
Really?
Yeah. And there is no bonding. That atmosphere, the environment of the courts, I feel is not conducive to the emotional development of the minors. They should be allowed, the fathers should be allowed to take the children away. Once they reach the age of 3 or 4, they are very happy to be with their fathers. I think that fathers' rights, this is cruelty to fathers.
Yes,
Because there's a thing called mamta, motherhood, then there's fatherhood.
Bapta.
No, it's called Shafkate Pidri.
Shafkat Pidri.
Okay?
No, Bapta, that would
if
work.
a mother loves a child, the father loves the child as well. Okay.
In most
And the
cases.
fact that he's in court trying to meet his children, so you get, depending on the age of the child, the babe in arms, the court will say, okay, 1 hour. There's so many gyms, this unhygienic environment. People come there with colds and diseases. The children should not be exposed to this. Then there are criminals walking across the courts, and the way we lawyers fight with each other in court, children don't need to be exposed to this adult world.
Very unhealthy.
Very unhealthy. So, and mothers say, oh no, 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 he'll poison my child. I don't want my child out of my eyesight. No, no. And they oppose that, and the judges say, okay, you will meet them in court. Recently, we're having a hospitality room made in the district judge here has had a hospitality room being made in the Islamabad courts where they can meet. I still don't think that should be there.
No, but then
Okay, people who are coming from long distances, take the child back to the village and then bring the child back, it may be a problem, that's fine. But when people can actually take the child for the weekend, why not? Also, in the same breath, I'll say, a mom is not a maid. She's not going to sort of look after the child, get up, go to school, bathe, shower, do your homework and put them to bed. So if the alternate weekends could be given, that the father spends one weekend with the child, the mother spends the other weekend with the child. So she also has some fun time with the child. But please allow the children to meet the father freely. When I was on the bench, I gave a ruling, and a lot of people have carried it forward, alhamdulillah, where I said half the summer holidays with the father, half the summer holidays with the mother, half the winter vacations with the father, half the winter.
But that's once you've assessed the father's actually interested.
Obvious.
Because a lot of fathers create problems.
Yes.
Come on.
No, but it's a fact. She's right. A lot of men think they may not be interested in the children, but they're being vindictive. The children then become the footballs in the fields of their vendettas.
That's sad.
And I literally do this to my clients: is please don't choose your child as a spear or a weapon or a shield. Please don't do that. That is a natural relationship. Do not break. The blood ties are very strong. And let the children go. The fathers will buy them things and let them enjoy.
It'll be fun.
And it's very important. Father's presence in a child's life is equally important. I know there's no replacement for a mother, but father's equally important.
No, but ma'am, now the problem is that half of the time, just because you were mentioning that women would say that, he's going to poison my child's brain and stuff like that. Now the thing is that if the couple separated already, they had hatred for each other in their hearts. And obviously they do not have that same hatred for the kids. They love them. But then at the same time, they just try to pinch each other, I think probably, or want to have another argument, or want to fight, or keep on fighting, and don't want to see each other at peace. So how do you, when you were at the bench, how did you realize that, whether what she's trying to convince me for,
who's
or what
he's
trying to,
You don't look at that. You look at, they're going to lie about each other.
Okay. Okay.
They're going to do that.
Yeah.
People, when we file a suit and a petition or something, and the reply comes, but look at what they've written. I said, what did you expect them to write? She's a wonderful woman. She's beautiful. He's not going to write that. You've written everything, and why should he not react? Now, what I say to my clients is that, remember, and that's my personal opinion, that the first man a girl loves is a father.
Yes.
And the mother's a role model. And the first woman a boy loves is the mother, and the father's a role model. If you're going to teach your children how to hate, you're debilitating them emotionally for the rest of their lives. They'll never have normal relationships with the opposite sex. So don't teach your children how to hate. Let them get the love. And why are you depriving your children of the love? Now what happens is the mothers have the custody, they're living with their parents, and when the paternal grandparents come to court to meet the children, no, they're not the petitioners, they cannot meet. I said, but why not? If your parents can have the children 24/7, and the paternal grandparents love the children equally, why can't they meet for a couple of hours? I wish it become a rule of the thumb. I know, I represent a lot of women. The first thing I tell the judges, ma'am, could the visitation be there? And please, let the grandparents come.
But I think when you give these opportunities and these to the other side as well, then you can also see what their intentions actually are.
Yes, just yesterday at the client sitting there, I showed my goodwill, and the reaction was very ugly.
Exactly. There you go.
But then no one can handle it. Come on, the judges are not stupid.
Exactly.
They're experienced. They know who's coming from where.
That's what they're there to
You
analyze.
stand at the courtroom door, the judge knows what you are all about.
Ooh,
Let's face
scary.
it, there's
Obviously.
people like you and me, 500 people, 1,000 people every day.
Every day.
So they're teaching, and mothers do brainwash their children. They do. Oh, your father's a rotter. He's a loser.
But fathers do that to the children too.
I
The
don't
children
think
are not with the fathers.
Oh,
where
and
will
then
the
all,
fathers-
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's perfectly all right.
What little time he gets, he's just, yes, there have been cases where fathers are sat at visitation and maligned the mother and said horrible things, and then I've overheard it and I've reported it to the judge, and the judge has sort of chastised them to don't, you just talk about yourselves. So I feel that this is an issue that has to be resolved. Mainly,
true,
I think the fathers need to be given more time with their children, allow them to interact and get to know the father. Keep your venom, your sort of hatred for each other away from the children.
But then, ma'am, at the same time, is it possible for a father, because they love the children equally as well, now the thing is it possible for the father to file for the custody when the child is a minor?
Yes, fathers do find that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the
But that's
fighting
an
is about.
exercise in futility.
All right.
Because the minors need the mother. And this is something I've been battering my head against the wall, but it's also my fault. I should have sat down, written a few articles or talked to some legislators.
You still can.
I know, but time.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. I don't finish work till 10, 11 at night, so I just don't get time to do what I love doing, that is writing.
Okay.
What happens, where were we? I'm now losing track.
When the father comes and puts the case
Yeah.
custody.
I've been saying that we have section 25 under which the custody of the minor is claimed. Now the father knows he'll not get the custody. So perhaps I appeal to the legislators, can you please bring in, say, 12A, whereby a father can just file an application for visitation?
Yeah.
That will cut down on the litigation. Okay, you can go through 10 hours of cross-examination, 500 hours of a trial. In the end, you know the writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
So why make the father, the woman, or the children go through the rigors of litigation? Why not just have the simple procedure, Section 12A, visitation? I hereby requested the minors are of a tender age, they need their mother, but the father is desirous of meeting the children. Can visitation rights please be granted?
Yeah. And it's not happening.
Yeah.
That's not happening. No, judges are now doing, which is, I'm noticing a change, which is very positive, and these are these new judges. I'm talking about the judges in Islamabad, and we are very lucky to have them. They are sort of going, okay, the woman has filed a case for maintenance, recovery of maintenance, and the father is filing an application to be allowed to meet the children, and the judges are allowing it.
Wow.
Of their own accord, because the family court has unfettered powers. Guardian cases are tried in the family court. The court has unfettered powers, and they decide the procedure themselves.
That's amazing.
So now, but everybody is not doing it.
But you know, at the same time, on what grounds? It might be impossible, as you said, but on what grounds do you think that a father might get the custody of a minor?
Yeah, because the thing is, sometimes mothers are not the healthiest place for a
No,
child
no,
to
no,
be.
Yes, that's a very, very good question. If the father also declares the mother a lunatic, or if she deserts the child, or she leads a debauched life. At the moment, I've got a case, and that's a very, very, very ugly case, where they're maligning the woman without any evidence, but they're maligning her nevertheless, because they know that if I can prove her to be of immoral character, I can take the custody, which is not also 100% right, because I remember I had a case where the lady was a Hindu. She married a Muslim, reverted to Islam, and then they got divorced. There was a child, a boy, there was a boy there. And the father filed for the custody, he was a minor. And she reverted back to, converted back to Hinduism.
Okay.
And I was very, very happy. It was a dynamic approach of the judge. It was some years ago, about a decade or so ago. And the judge left the custody with the mother, with instructions to bring him up as a Muslim, because the child has to be brought up according to the father's personal law. And 10 on 10 to that moment, the child was brought to court every month. And the judge would ask him questions about Islam and the ayats, and have you learned to say namaz, how do you say namaz? And 10 on 10 to her that she brought up the child as a Muslim.
Wow.
There have been cases where prostitutes have been given the custody of their children. And they were like prostitutes, they got married and then they got divorced, and because they said it was up to the man to keep her away from that environment. He's divorced her. But she's a mother, she'll never do anything wrong for her children.
Okay, so basically, you have to also then prove the mother to be incapable of looking after the child in
yes,
order
yes,
to.
yes.
Okay,
And
interesting.
that's very difficult.
So at this
But
point of
nevertheless, I
time,
find that quite sad and quite like, I mean, that's really unfair. It's
I mean,
not good for the
separations and
child.
divorces are sad anyway. So
I think they're
and there are
horrible
repercussions.
things.
Yeah, they're horrible.
And you know something? Because of a divorce, suppose, let's take a hypothetical thing. You both are married, you both are good looking, you get a divorce. You'll find a woman, you'll find a man. The children are the victims of a
Exactly.
divorce. Only people who suffer are the children because they're torn between the two parents. And sometimes I find judges asking the children, now who do you want to live with, the father or the mother? I said, that's very unfair.
That's hard. But we're going to pause.
Never ask a child
Yeah.
that question.
We're going to pause there. We have to go for a short break. And when you come back, we're going to continue this really interesting conversation to raise awareness. Stay tuned.
The smiling faces of Pakistan. ETV World, changing perspectives.
The Lahore Fort, locally referred to as Shahi Qila, is citadel of city of Lahore. It is located in the northwestern corner of the walled city of Lahore. The trapezodal composition is spread over 20 hectares. Origins of the fort go back as antiquity. However, the existing base structure was built during the reign of the Mughal Emperor Akbar between 1556 and 1605 and was regularly upgraded by subsequent Mughal, Sikh and British rulers. It has two gates. One is known as Alamgiri Gate, built by Emperor Aurangzeb, which opens towards Badshah Mosque, and the other older one known as Masjidi. Punjabi language words means of masjid, or Masjidi Gate, which opens towards Masjidi Gate area of walled city and was built by Emperor Akbar. Currently, Alamgiri Gate is used as a principal entrance, while Masjidi Gate is permanently closed. The fort manifests the rich traditions of Mughal architecture. Some of the famous sites inside the fort include Sheesh Mahal, Alamgiri Gate, Nolakha Pavilion, and Moti Masjid. In 1981, the fort was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site along with the Shalimar Gardens, Lahore. Architectural wonders of Pakistan.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You guys are tuning to PTV watching World This Morning alongside me, Shahzad and Maha. And today we've been joined by this fabulous, amazing, in fact, fantabulous lady.
Oh no, I hate
And
that word.
She's been a mentor for a million people out there. She's done so much for the women's right and men's right at the same time. And, you know, I love it that she's kept an equilibrium.
Exactly,
because
last time, because last time I was like, oh no, it's so anti-men. But now it's like really, I'm kind of feeling really bad for the fathers.
I do. I really feel
But
bad
there,
for the
look,
fathers.
okay, we have to ask this because it's not fair if the father truly loves his kid and is going to give him a good good upbringing, and the mother is just doing it out of spite. And a lot of people do that here, don't they?
Very seldom, Mahan.
No?
A mother is a mother.
Okay, I'm not a mother, so I don't know. So.
A mother is a mother.
Okay.
When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about his love, he said, I love you more than 17 mothers. He
Yeah,
didn't say, I love you more than 70 fathers. The analogy was the mother's love.
Okay.
They want to keep it. Look, parents love their children. Okay? They want to keep the children, but what I'm saying is, yeah, you have a right to keep the children. They're too young to look after themselves. Girls, they say, okay, puberty girl goes away to the father. No, she should be with the mother because that's when she's going to learn how to run a home, how to be a responsible wife, daughter, even a professional. And the boy is always protected by their mothers. What I'm saying is, don't use them as weapons and shields. Let them have a natural relationship with the father.
Okay.
Because we don't have a concept of joint custody in Pakistan. There's no such thing as joint custody.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. So,
what is that concept though, joint custody?
Half
that is
time.
abroad. Like in America and England, they're living in a home. The party is split up. The woman gets to stay in the home with their children. And the father comes and picks them up every weekend. He's allowed to take them away every weekend.
Every weekend, yes.
That's very cool. Hi, George, how are you? Yeah.
My friends had...
I'm going out, why don't you come and babysit? So at least they're civil. I said, look, you have your own enmity. But to the extent of the children, please be friends.
Okay. Now, here's a situation I want to ask. Now, if the parents have split up, say the husband has kicked the woman out the house, like you said, and you gave the example that the mother took the children with her. There are instances where the father kicks the mother out and keeps the kids.
Yeah.
Now, what are the rights of the women there? Because a lot of them actually give up and they're like...
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yay.
I'm so glad. When the father kicks the mother out of the house and retains the kid's custody, the remedy available to her is to go to a court of competent jurisdiction, and this is a concurrent jurisdiction. You either can go to before the district judge or you can go before the High Court.
Okay.
You file a petition under section 491, that is recovery from unlawful detention. The custody that the father has retained is neither illegal, nor is it is not illegal, it is improper, and he's retained it unlawfully. The lawful measure would have been to go to the court and get, so it can be called improper custody.
Okay.
It's not an illegal custody. When she files a petition to 491, then the court, practically most of the time I've seen it happens, maximum it takes is 4 to 5 hours. Worst case scenario, the next day. Okay? The court will then send the bailiff, and so allow it, and the bailiff, accompanied by the police, will go to the residence of the father. They'll either say the orders are to produce the child in court tomorrow, or they'll pick up the child and bring the child to the court, and the court will ask the child. Now, opinion of a minor does not matter because they can't decide their welfare. And say, okay, hand it over to mother. And he'll protest and everything. He said, look, and at the end of the order, he invariably writes, both the parties are free to go to a guardian court to have the matter of the custody decided. These are what we call summary proceedings. There's no evidence recorded. Okay. There are no statements recorded. The judge will ascertain the age of the minor and is leaning towards the mother. And even if the child is clinging to the father, if it's a 2-year-old baby or a 3-year-old baby, the court will hand it over to the mother, and then they can find it out.
And it's a quick procedure as well,
Very
and I
quick
think that's very
procedure,
helpful as
And
well.
it's very important that you know, because I met a lot of women who say like, oh no, well, I just left my children with the husband because, you know, he can maintain the
That's
lifestyle.
very good if you feel that.
And, you know, but then they've lost on that relationship because they didn't know their rights or they didn't pursue their rights.
Well, you see, I feel if a woman is being like, I had a friend who did that. She was married to a very, very rich man. She had 3 kids, and when they go to divorce, she left the children with the father on the premise that, look, what you can give them, I cannot. I want my children to have everything that they're entitled to. And the man was civilized enough to allow the children to go to their mother whenever she wanted to.
That's lovely.
That's why he even slept in a huge television screen in the home, and so did have a place. My children come here, they should have the creature comforts.
See, that's a healthy.
Isn't
kind
that
of separation.
fantastic? And the
It is
best of friends.
fantastic.
Say if he's going out for a New Year's, you said, look, I'm going out, can you babysit? Yeah, sure. Okay, this year I'm going out, you babysit. Okay, sure.
Nope.
So that is what it should be.
I think that's how civilized you should be. The society should actually need to learn. I mean, we should learn that way from examples. But then at the same time, you know, since we're picking up on a scenario where, you know, the father kicks out the mother and then keeps the kids with him, or probably then the court decides that the minors are going to go to the mother. But then eventually, when you have so much hatred, fathers refuse to pay at time for the kids. Now, what can the mothers do so that they can maintain the lifestyle of the minors as
The
well?
maintenance, because that's a huge thing abroad as well.
Maintenance is to be given, the minor is entitled to the same lifestyle as enjoyed by the father.
Okay.
Okay.
And the second most frequently upheld dictum is that a mother's poverty is no ground to refuse her custody, because the minor has to be maintained by the father.
Okay.
Now that all depends on the kind of evidence the women have about his income. The more evidence they have, the more the maintenance will be. But whatever the maintenance is, it is subject to a 10 to 15% increase, annual increase.
Okay.
The father, mind you, the maintenance that is being given, now they're increasing it a bit, but if you're giving 5,000, for God's sake, 5,000 doesn't even put 2 meals on the table, so to speak. That's not enough.
Yeah.
So I think if what I do is, if the woman doesn't have any evidence, I say, okay, what are his qualifications? That says a lot about how much he can earn.
Yeah.
And there are rulings where fathers are not working or they refuse to work, and the courts have said he's an able-bodied man. Tell him to go out there, work and maintain his children, regardless cost ruling. The father is bound to maintain his children.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind
So,
of
you know,
society
for-
we're living in, where
Yeah.
they take all the responsibility. Then when you
And you know, I have found fathers who, sometimes the father, I was pleasantly surprised. The court decided 35,000 as interim maintenance. And you know, of his own accord, he said, no, I can afford to pay 50 for my child.
Oh, that's sweet. And the money has to be specifically for the child, right?
But you see, their attitude is, why should I maintain her? I'm not going to give her money for her. So, I say, sweetheart, you don't give enough for the child. Where is she going? She has to be out of pocket herself. What are you talking about? Let's face it, this is double-digit inflation.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about? That if you're giving 10,000 for a child, you think it's enough for the maintenance means food, clothing, and shelter.
Yeah.
And the children have wants and children have needs. The maintenance barely fulfills their needs. What about their wants? And you have to give the children their wants, otherwise they get inferiority complex.
But what type
Now-
of budgets are we looking at whenever we talk about maintenance?
Like I said, Shahzad, that it has to be
much money?
commensurate with the income of the father. The law says that minors have to stay in the same lifestyle as enjoyed by the father. So the more evidence you bring to prove it, like I can go in there and say, well, you know, he's a multi-millionaire. I say, yeah, right, he is, but where is the evidence that he's a multi-millionaire? You know, and a lot of women say that, I know a man is earning 40,000, she says he earns 200,000 a month. I said, but where is the
You have to have evidence.
courts,
Wives always doubt,
sometimes
though.
at times courts know the man is earning, but the wife can only bring, like I had a case where there was a bureaucrat and he was grade 16 or something like that, 17, and he put his pay slip saying, this is what I earn. And those days was about 7,000 a month was his take-home salary. But he had 2 properties, one in I-9 and one in F10, that were rented out. But the woman couldn't get the evidence for that.
And the court knew it.
Court
then the
knew
court
it.
can do anything.
Court can't do anything.
No, you can't unless you have evidence.
Unless, look, the woman has a way, she can go to registration authority, or even if she puts on file that the record to be summoned. I know this property is in his name, the CD is not giving him the record, the Patwari is not giving him the record, it's an income generating thing.
Yeah.
And then one more thing I'd like to say on this point is the father puts any property into a child's name whereby the property generates an income, then the child is not entitled to maintenance, because that income is to go to the child.
Okay, so there are different ways of doing it.
Yeah,
Okay, now you asked me to remind you, I don't know if we've gone about 419.
491, I just said that.
491.
491,
Oh, that was
The-
the,
the-
oh, you're just checking. Sorry, I was like,
So anything which you think we might have left out on and is very important to share with
Yeah.
our viewers?
Well, I just say that my only thing is that please think about your children's emotional stability. And I request the courts to kindly allow the fathers to take the children away for every alternate weekend. Let them be with their fathers. In all my years, the first time I've come across is where this father is, as a matter of fact, I was arguing this morning that there are signs of incest. I mean, you know, like he might, the girl is 11 years old and she doesn't like the way he is behaving with her, that inappropriate contact. Now, these are things we'd like to brush under the carpet. Oh, we can't talk about this publicly, but these are realities.
Yeah.
So you have to ask, and the judge is very sensible. She called the minor, she talked to the minor herself, because what
very important.
Minors and old people, we call them natural witnesses.
Yeah.
They don't lie.
Yeah, that's true.
They cannot even be trained to say this under a cross-examination because they're honest. They don't give a damn.
Crack.
Okay? They crack easily. So, and I've done it so many times.
How is that, by the way?
See, it's only this age strata.
Like questioning a child.
No, you don't question a child in court. No.
Okay, how do you do it?
A minor cannot be put in the dock.
Of course.
The judges call them in the chambers. I've done it. I've called
the
children to
chambers.
the chambers and asked them what they feel, because I've got to see what they. Another thing is the preference of the minor is to be given consideration. But that is when a minor is old enough to arrive at an intelligent decision.
And what age is that normally?
That would be about 9, 10 in this day and age. And we call them Sarir or Sarira for the girl. Sarir is a child, or a Sarir is a girl who can take an intelligent decision.
Okay.
And it has been held that the minor's preference should be kept in consideration.
Wonderful.
But when they're very young, they can't decide. And they want to be with both of them. And I remember it was so cute. This little boy appeared in front of me, and the father had taken the child away to Dubai. Brought the child and the elder sister back, sent the daughter back to the mother. He'd remarried. And the little boy he kept. The mother filed a petition under 491 for the recovery, and the child didn't want to go. So I handed over for the week, and this was a Friday, so I handed over the High Court is closed on Saturdays, the interim custody to the mother. I said, bring them back on Monday. And honestly, the way the child was crying, I was in my chambers, the corridors, his screams were all over the corridor. I said, God, have I done the right thing? Have I done the right thing? And I was very worried about, Allah not being angry with me. And when the child came back on Monday, I said, okay, sweetheart, did you have a nice time? Yes. Did you enjoy being with Appa? Yes. Did Mummy spoil you? She gave me ice cream. And it was so cute. And I said, now, I know I hate asking this question, darling, but who do you want to stay with? Both of them.
Oh no.
They always say that. So I said, okay, look, why don't we do one thing? That you stay with Mommy and for 5 days a week. And you go and spend the weekend with Daddy. You take him out to parks and make him take you to McDonald's. He clapped. Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, that's
and it got resolved. My father was very. He didn't agree to it. I said, well, you can go to guardian court and file a thing. But this is the best I can do in 491 proceeding because my powers are limited.
I've written it
And
wrong.
all you need
Okay,
to
we
do
have to
is
wind
keep
up
up
now.
the good work because we're running out of time.
We've
We're
run out
almost
of
short
time.
of it. And
Thank
the
you
news
for
anchors
having
are
this
here
program.
in the
It was very
studios.
important to me too.
No, thank you so much. I've learned so much and my heart is aching a little bit after this. But anyway, we have run out. We can't even do a closing. Do log on to our Facebook fan page.
Which is with the name of World This Morning.
Twitter page.
World This Morning without a G.
Daily Motion and YouTube
World This
page.
Morning, World This Morning.
And the repeat of that.
5 past midnight.
We will see you bright and early very soon. Have a wonderful day.
Good morning.